Like I said, my name's Kinsey. I'm a certified nutrition specialist here at Paleo Plan. And my story is that I was able to use paleo to overcome several different autoimmune diseases. I was very sick about 6 years ago, bald and crippled, if you'll believe that. And paleo literally saved my life. So I'm super passionate about helping other people also reclaim their health and vitality with a paleo lifestyle. So that's why I'm here. I'm also the voice behind our weekly newsletter. So if you guys haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, you definitely want to do that. You go to our main page, paleoplan.com, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, and on the right-hand side, you can enter your email to get our newsletter every Wednesday. And Sally is the voice behind our Monday meal plan emails that you'll get once you're a member. So I'll let her do her intro.
I'm Sally Barton-Johnson, and I'm a registered dietitian and licensed dietitian. I have a Master's of Arts degree in Applied Physiology. I spent many years working in clinical and community nutrition, and I finally, never too late, discovered the paleo lifestyle. I'm a CrossFitter, and I love to cook, I love to eat, and I love to work at Paleo Plan, where, yes, I create the meal plans, and they go out every Tuesday, not every Monday.
My bad.
And I answer comments and questions, do some blogging, and special projects. And it's all good.
It is all good. Right on. So we have a little disclaimer that we want to just put out there.
Yes.
Routine stuff.
Routine stuff, and I'm going to read verbatim from my printout here.
Do that.
Yes, here we go. Kinsey and I are nutritionists, not physicians, and the scope of this discussion tonight is not intended as diagnosis or treatment of specific illness or conditions. If you have an ailment or illness that may require medical attention, then you are encouraged to consult with a licensed physician without delay. The sole purpose of tonight's discussion is to broaden your knowledge of paleo diet principles and motivate you to assume more personal responsibility for your health by adopting a healthy attitude, lifestyle, and diet.
Yay!
Yay.
Nice work, Sally. That was super comprehensive. All right. So let's see. Oh, moving along, I wanted to let you guys know that we are running a flash sale, which is pretty exciting. It's an opportunity. If you haven't yet joined Paleo Plan as a member, you can join tonight and save up to 67% off our regular prices, which is our lowest discount, or our greatest discount of the year. Chuck was going to drop the link into the chat box when he gets back. So
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Chuck.
Sorry about that. I had a second computer I had booted up just in case, so that's where I'm on now. I'm trying to get my other computer back.
And your face has been replaced with a glowing Paleo Plan sign, so that's fun.
Sorry
too.
about that. Yeah, my other computer crashed, so it's booted back up, and that's where everything's at.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, and you have great timing because I just said your name, so it's almost like you right on cue. And when you get a chance, if you could drop the link to the flash sale in the chat box so people who haven't signed up yet for our meal plan can do so by midnight tonight and save big. So we will be following the Paleo Plan meal plans for this 30-day Paleo Challenge, so everybody's on the same page. So tonight is your chance to do that. All right. Moving right along. Chuck, we kind of bypassed, we did our introductions already without you, but the one thing we didn't talk about is how people can ask questions in the chat window.
Oh yeah, if you're watching this video, that probably means you're on our webpage. If you're not, you may be on watching it live on YouTube or on our Google Plus page. If you go to our website, let's see here, and you're watching the video there, below the video you'll see a little chat box. You can log into that chat box either using Twitter or I think Facebook, or you can just set up an account and ask questions there, and we'll be reading and answering the questions from there.
Right on. So if you got a question, drop it in the chat box, and we're going to have a chance for a question and answer session after we talk a little bit about what the Paleo Challenge is and how we're going to go about it this time. So let's see. First, Sally, hi. I was wondering maybe if you would chat a little bit about what why it's important to have a meal plan, and really why it's important to eat whole food, and why this challenge is important.
Okay, absolutely. A challenge is a great way for you to take a big look at your food environment, the food environment at large, and your personal food environment. What's going on in it? When you do a challenge, you make a huge sudden change in what you're eating. You're dropping all of those processed food-like substances from your diet, and you're focusing on what we consider to be real food, food that you can find in the wild. If you were a hunter-gatherer or you're a contemporary hunter-gatherer, these are foods you could hunt, gather, find, and eat. And it's not that we say don't eat grains, which are something that's been farmed or post-agriculture, or legumes. It's because I'm getting tongue-tied here, Kinsey. Jump in if you need to.
It's okay. We all get
But the point is to look at a food for whether it's easily digested and absorbed by your body and tolerated by your body and used by your body for the health of your body versus its toxic effects. And what we find is that foods that we don't find in the wild, foods that are grown on a farm or in agriculture, our bodies tend to reject in some way. And that hurts our guts, causes inflammation, and leads to all the illnesses, the chronic diseases we see in modern civilization today, which is what my tongue got tied up trying to say.
That's a lot of words to be in modern society and civilization. It's a mouthful.
It's a very big concept. We want to eat foods that have high nutritional value, that are loaded with nutrients, but that have a low toxic load or toxic effect on us. We want to eat what's good for us so we thrive, as our hunter-gatherer ancestors did.
Amen.
Yeah. So a challenge helps you do that. A challenge gives you group support and helps you focus on doing that. Valuable group support.
Absolutely. I know the group we have right now is so amazing. You guys are already chatting with each other and giving ideas, and we absolutely encourage that. Like, supporting each other is such a huge part of this process, especially if this is the first time you've ever done something like this, if the first time you've ever changed your diet. We'll be right up front with you. It's not easy at first. There is a good 2 to 3 week period that we call the dreaded detox, because it doesn't feel great. Your body is going through so many different biochemical changes on the cellular level, and yeah, you're detoxing, but there's a lot of different things going, and we actually have a blog called The Dreaded Detox on our website that you can read for more details, and read the comments section too, because we've gone into further detail there. But all that to say, there is a period where you might not feel great, and the group is a really supportive place to help, give feedback and just reassurance to one another that yes, that headache will go away, and no, you're not going to be all foggy-headed forever. Those are really common things that come up. I promise you, once you get to the other side, things are very different. So hang in there, and we are here for support and to help you along the way. And that's what the Paleo Challenge is all about, and we are really excited to be here with you guys. So if you guys are already in our Facebook group, there is, at the top of the Facebook page, there's different links or tabs, and if you click on the Files tab in our private Facebook group, you'll find a document, and it's called Things to Do Before and After Your 30-Day Paleo Challenge. And you'll want to take a look at that as soon as you can, really, but we're going to go through some of the stuff here tonight with you. Because we think it's really helpful to take some measurements before you do a 30-day paleo challenge. You can really watch your progress as you progress through this, and it's really inspiring and exciting to see before and after. So we really encourage you to take some of these measurements, and Sally and I are going to go back and forth and just chat about basically what that document says. But we think it's so important, we're going to mention it here too. Okay, let's see. What else was I going to say? Oh, yes, something else that's super important. If you have a certain health condition, or even if not, it's important to consult. I know Sally already said this, but it really is important to consult your healthcare providers about anytime you make a major life change. And if you're changing your diet, if you take certain medications, you might not realize, just chat with your doctor and tell them that you're doing paleo and keep people in the loop about it. We wanted to re-mention that because it is important to have all of your people on the same page and in the know. Diet plays a huge role. Some people discount it and they're like, oh, diet's not like that important, but it really is. It is hugely affecting you on a cellular level. Every single cell of your body will change as a result of changing your diet in a great way. But, it's kind of important. So, yeah, tell your doctor.
I like what you said about having your community all on the same page, your doctor, your friends, family.
Yeah.
It is important.
You know what? When I went paleo, I sent an email to all of my friends and family and said, I was really sick at the time, but I said, listen, here's the deal. I'm going on this diet, and I really would appreciate your support. I didn't send it to everyone in my address book, right? But to the people that mattered in my life. Yeah. And I said, these are the foods I can eat. These are the foods I can't eat now, and I would appreciate your support. And people, I don't know, people really gave me good feedback about that and said that was really helpful. And so they didn't feel weird if they wanted to invite me over but didn't know what I ate. They just consulted the email. So good. Something maybe that might be helpful for some of you guys. It doesn't have to be that. But for me it was, because I used food as medicine. It was like I am very serious about this whole thing. So speaking of being very serious, Sally, do you want to chat a little bit about keeping a diet log and why that might be helpful?
Absolutely. Keeping a diet log for what you're eating during the challenge. It's a little too late to keep track of what you were eating before the challenge. We realize the challenge has started today. But if you want to kind of do a recall and just jot down foods you were eating before you started this, it's a good idea so that in the next 30 days, when you look back, you can really do a good comparison. You want to keep track. You might want to download a diet log from the computer. If you Google in food diaries, diet logs, there'll be a zillion you can choose from, or you can pick one up at the bookstore. You can just make your own on a piece of paper in a notebook. And write down what you eat when you're eating. Maybe you don't eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe you kind of graze through the day. So that's something that you're going to look to. And as you go through the challenge, decide if that's working for you or not. You don't have to be super specific about portion sizes. You don't have to weigh food. Absolutely do not check calories. That is not what paleo is about. It's not what we want you to do. We don't want you to get all messed up about all this and obsessed with it. It's about looking at what you're eating, writing down how you feel when you ate it or maybe after you ate it, and generalized portion sizes, guessing size of the palm of your hand, guessing how many ounces it is. So when you look back, but nothing to get crazy about. But it's a great idea to mark everything down. And again, I want to say a great idea to write how you feel physically and emotionally after you eat it as well. And if you're doing what we call an elimination provocation challenge, which you'll read about in the document, it is extremely important to write down what you've been eating. So when you add foods back in, you have a good comparison.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it is. You think that you'll recognize your symptoms that are related to food, but I've found I feel like I'm really in my body and in touch with my body, but unless I write it down, I really cannot make that correlation. And part of it maybe is because you can react to a food several days after you've consumed that food, so it gets pretty tricky because you're eating multiple times a day, and it's I had to write stuff down to realize, oh, whoa, I react to corn immediately, but to other grains, it takes a day or two. So without having logged my diet at some point and done some challenges like that, I never would have realized. So it's helpful, but I also think, don't you think too, Sally, if it stresses people out to log stuff, then just don't even do it. Because
Exactly. These are suggestions. Everything we're saying is suggestions. If they help you, go for it. But if they make you crazy and make you not want to do the challenge, drop it.
Exactly.
Stick with what's working for you, because we're all different and we all have different tolerance levels for all of this.
Yeah. So along those lines, we suggest taking before and after photos, which I know a lot of people are uncomfortable about, but consider doing this because it'll just kind of blow your socks off after 30 days to see how much your body actually changes. And I think an important thing to mention, like a couple times, is that the weight on the scale, Sally already mentioned this, but the weight on the scale shouldn't be your primary indicator of how well you're doing. The weight really fluctuates a lot in the first several months, really going paleo. It might not go steadily down the way people want to, but muscle weighs more than fat, and your body is, again, changing so much that don't fixate on that number on the scale. Use it as one marker, but definitely not the most important marker. You instead want to focus on really how you look, feel, and perform. And even a better indicator, I'm jumping ahead, but will be, how your pants fit and your waistline. But again, how you look, how your body looks is a much better indicator than, say, the weight on the scale. So taking these before and after photos, if you do them in a full-length mirror, you can take them from the front and from the side. We go into more details about how to do that in the document on the Facebook group, so check there. But we do recommend that you can wear as many, try to do like sports bra and shorts if you can, but if you're not comfortable with that, t-shirt, shorts, whatever. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. But we're going to keep talking about taking measurements. And Sally, can you go through that list of measurements that we...
Right, before and after measurements. Kinsey just talked about weight, so I'm going to skip over that.
Yeah.
Just to say, weigh yourself as often or as not often as you like, but do at least 2 weights, one at the beginning of the challenge and one in 30 days. If you like to weigh yourself every day, go for it. If you like to weigh yourself once a week, or if you don't want to get on that scale, then put it away for 30 days. It's up to you. But body measurements, we suggest you measure your waist, which is right where the top of your hips are. If I stand up, you might see my waist. Let's see. Yep, right at the top of your hips. Then you should measure your hips, which is at the widest area of your hips, your thigh, around the thickest part of your thigh, and your upper arm, right here, upper arm. Take those measurements with a tape, write them down, put it away for 30 days. Then you can remeasure yourself. Because as Kinsey said, weight is not the whole story. Especially if you're doing, starting a workout program with all of this. You're going to change. Mm-hmm. Blood pressure. That's a really great thing to measure because blood pressure is very, it's reactive to what you're doing, your exercise and what you're eating. So if you don't have a doctor appointment soon, get to a drugstore, get it done there, write it down, and in 30 days we do.
Sally, and I'm back, by the way.
Hey.
If you look at right here, this is a cheap little blood pressure monitor you can get off of Amazon. I forget how much it was, but you just put it on your wrist. It keeps track of your last so many readings. It's a great, cheap little device that works really well.
Cool. Thank you, Chuck. Before and after blood work. Kinsey's going to talk about that.
I am. This is one of my favorite things because I love seeing this kind of progress. I do my blood work quite regularly. So it's something you're going to have to go see your medical doctor to do. But different doctors feel different ways about you walking in with a list of tests you want to run and running them. But if you can get these are pretty standard tests, a lot of them, so you might be able to talk your doctor into having them run. And if you have health insurance, a lot of times they are covered under your health insurance as well, so try to go that route with it. But at least for me, it was drastic how my blood lab markers changed over 30 days and over time. I've been doing my blood work long before I went paleo and pretty consistently thereafter. And it really is incredible. My doctors have been amazed, and everybody around me is amazed because it's like, okay, you can say how you feel and you can think how you look, but to watch your health improving via blood work is truly inspirational, and it's a huge part of what keeps me motivated through this whole process. So some blood work that we do suggest, and again, all of this stuff is on the document on the Facebook page called Things to Do Before and After Your 30-Day Paleo Challenge, so check that out. But we recommend getting your comprehensive metabolic panel, and that includes a variety of tests, but it has fasting blood glucose and fasting lipids in there, so that's like your LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. It's a pretty basic one. It's, so many people out there seem to have thyroid dysfunction these days. We do recommend, if you can, to test your thyroid. If you have a low thyroid, it can make a lot of changes and just life in general a lot harder. So there's a couple different tests like TSH, free T3, free T4 to run for your thyroid. Vitamin D, there is a chronic vitamin D deficiency going on in the world, in our nation. Get your vitamin D level tested. Vitamin D isn't even a vitamin, it's a hormone, and it's the precursor to a lot of different important functions in your body, all of your hormones and whatnot. It really is important to have adequate vitamin D status. And contrary to popular belief, we cannot, most of us live in areas of the world that we cannot get enough vitamin D by being in the sun. And the conversion rate of vitamin D from the sun isn't like all that great as people make it out to be. So having said that, test your vitamin D and consider supplementing with it if you are low. A couple more tests is high specificity C-reactive protein, otherwise known as CRP. That's a level of general inflammation in your body. It's an indicator for future heart disease risk and also different autoimmune diseases. Sedimentation rates, another marker of inflammation in your body. These things, basically paleo is an anti-inflammatory diet, really. So measuring the level of inflammation in your body before is very telling. And since inflammation is so correlated with these diseases of modern society, like heart disease and cancer and diabetes and autoimmune disease, and the list goes on, understanding how much inflammation you have in your body through, as many tests as you can really get, it will just be helpful. And I should say, like, my C-reactive protein was never elevated, but I had other markers elevated. So some people have different markers elevated, which is why it's a good idea to just try to get as many of these tests done as possible. But for inflammation, the C-reactive protein, the sedimentation rate seem to be pretty good ones. And the last one I'll mention, the fasting blood glucose is a good test, but an even better indicator for your status of blood glucose and how your body's handling glucose is your hemoglobin A1C. It's a measure of the average blood glucose on your cells for the past 3 months. So your average blood glucose levels over the past 3 months is your hemoglobin A1C, also called your HbA1c, or just the A1C. Again, all listed on the document, but do consider this because your blood sugar and the way your body is able to tolerate sugar is going to change. So a lot of people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic end up coming out of that risk zone just as a result of changing their diet. That's very common. Your levels of inflammation are going to change, which is going to, one of the things that causes high blood pressure is simply too much inflammation in your veins. Too much liquid in your veins, you're going to have literally high blood pressure. So when we have this anti-inflammatory paleo diet that we're following, our blood pressure decreases and our overall, not everybody's blood pressure decreases, but overall our inflammation levels do decrease. So anyhow, blood work's super cool way to watch it. I'm a nerd, I know, I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. Sally, can you tell us about the before and after workout?
And before we keep going, guys, I just wanted to show everybody on the Facebook page where to get these files. So if you go to the Paleo Plan 30-Day Challenge group and you click on this tab right here, I'm not sure if you can all see it, but right under the main image, it says Files. It's the 5th tab. If I click on Files, you'll see it's right here. So things to do before and after the 30-Day Paleo Challenge. So that's where you're going to get the document that we're discussing right now.
Cool. Hey, and Chuck, were you ever able to drop that link for the flash sale into the chat?
No, I'll do that right now. Thank you.
Okay. I just remembered.
And I'm sorry, guys, about about all of that. I'm going to show you my setup here, and this is what crashed. I've got. Oh wait, I'm still sharing.
I'm just glad it wasn't my computer that crashed.
Yeah, thanks.
Ditto.
Computers are hard. We're not technologically inclined. It's like being online is a whole new world.
All right, so I've got 1 monitor, 2 monitors, 3 monitors.
Yeah.
That's just what crashed.
That's it.
Anyways, okay, I'll drop the link.
Glad you got back online, Chuck.
As long as I don't crash right now, which it looks like it's going to.
Don't do it. Don't you do it.
Okay, let's move on. So
Moving
the
on.
last thing we want you to do is a before and after workout. You're going to do the same workout after the challenge as you choose to do before. And we have several ideas for you to choose from, but you can do them all or you can do one. We've got a burpee challenge, and if you don't know what a burpee is, wow, you're lucky. Just kidding, just kidding. We have a video that will show you what a burpee challenge is and exactly how to do it. So you'll be good to go there. I don't know if Chuck wants to put up that link, but it is in the file. So we have a push-up challenge here for you, where you do a certain number of push-ups. And you will need a timer or a stopwatch, some kind of a way to measure your time on these. So after you do your challenge, you can write down the time, and when you retest yourself, you'll see all your improvements. We have a simple walk or run challenge as well. You can just walk a mile and then retest yourself at the end of the challenge. And then that brings us to writing down our goals, which is perhaps the most important thing you can do.
It really is. It's like in the perfect timing because of New Year's resolutions. So think of them as resolutions or think of them as goals, but it really is important. And it sounds simple, but like actually physically write down what your goals are. Like, and by what your goals are, I mean, what are your goals for doing this 30-day paleo challenge? Maybe it is to lose weight, or maybe you have a specific disease or illness that you're trying to overcome, or you're trying to heal your leaky gut, or just optimize your health, or get your blood sugar under control. Whatever it is, write down your goals. I would stick to 3 or less goals, otherwise sometimes it can become overwhelming. But write down your goals and look at them every day, and it'll help you stay accountable and feel like you're working towards something. And don't beat yourself up if you failio. Like, failio happens, right? It's part of this process. We all did it. We all do it. It's part of the learning process. We don't encourage failio, especially for the purposes of the 30-day paleo challenge. It's a great idea to try to be as strict as possible with this challenge. It literally takes 4 to 6 weeks for your immune system to stop reacting to certain foods that you've eaten. So in order to give your body a thorough chance to reset itself, it takes at least that 30 days of not introducing any of the foods that you're challenging out of your diet. So we do encourage you to be as strict as possible, but if you failio, don't beat yourself up. We've all been there, we all get it, and the group is totally intended to be a supportive environment that we can help each other through all of the different ups and downs that happen along the way. So with that, that is all of the measurements that we thought you guys would be interested in doing up front and also after the Paleo Challenge to just measure your progress. Again, Chuck showed you how to find that under the Files tab on the Facebook group. Let's see, but moving along.
Kinsey, do you want your mic up or down? How do you want it?
It sounds better when you had it down.
Oh yeah, hi, sorry. Forgot about that. I was drinking water and then, oopsies. Hopefully you heard that whole last spiel.
We did.
It was really good. Let's see. What else were we going to chat about? We were going to mention that, okay, paleo is actually, it's more than a diet, it's a lifestyle. So when you hear people talking about the paleo lifestyle, it really is. Like, once you get into it, like maybe it'll start with just a diet thing, but when you get into it, you start seeing all these areas of your life that essentially really need to be addressed in order to achieve optimal health, which is the goal here. So we wanted to just briefly mention a few other things that we're going to be focusing on in the upcoming weeks and chatting with you about, but we wanted to mention them up front so you can have them on your radar, and I'll let Sally do that because I have ben rambling.
Oh, no problem. It's all important information. You can be eating a perfect diet and exercising every day, and you're not achieving your goals, and it's very frustrating. So you need to take a global look at what's going on in your life. If you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not dealing with stress, if you're not facing all these other things in your life, it could be affecting your metabolism. Stress increases cortisol, which can completely affect your weight loss efforts. Lack of sleep, the same exact thing. So take a look at all those things. Drink enough water. Make sure you're eating enough so that you're not starving yourself and slowing down your metabolism and undermining your efforts that way. You have to look at all these global lifestyle factors and take them all into account. They're all as important as your diet and your exercise. You could be exercising too much, could be exercising too little. You have to look at it all.
Amen to that. But you can't exercise away a bad diet.
Correct.
Mark Sisson, I think. Is that Mark Sisson? Okay. Sorry, did I just cut you off?
No, I'm done.
Okay, cool. Okay, so along those lines, and thank you, Sally. Like she said, we're going to chat more about all of these things in the future because it really is a full picture approach at things that we want to take, and we want to like, I'm not even going to go into the details, but other things other than diet can cause inflammation, like not getting enough sleep or under exercising or over exercising. So we want to reduce inflammation, which is at the root of all these diseases, including weight gain, everywhere possible. And that's largely related to diet, but it's also related to these other factors that are also super important. So that's why we're going to be talking about things that are like just more than diet throughout the challenge. That's what we're trying to say. But having said that, I know, like myself, I've suffered from autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, been diagnosed with lupus and low thyroid, alopecia areata, all sorts of not fun situations. Sometimes your situation's more unique and you feel like you need more one-on-one help. So we wanted to mention that we do have one-on-one private consulting available with our nutritionist if you guys feel like you need a more just one-on-one approach to things. We've got that available, and I was hoping Chuck could maybe drop that link in the chat box when you get a minute.
Absolutely. Somebody else asked how they joined the Facebook group, and I posted that in the
oh, aren't you on
chat
top of it behind the scenes?
No, not at all. When you guys are ready to start taking some questions, we got a couple here. So.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. We just wanted to mention too that Sally will be posting daily wisdom, so make sure you check the Facebook page every day, and she'll be pinning the daily post at the top. So when you go to the Facebook page, make sure you look at the pinned post because that'll be the current post of the day, and then you can scroll back to see all the different conversations. And feel free to post away in there. We just ask that you try to stick to Paleo Plan links for the duration of the challenge. We would much appreciate that. And yeah, what questions do you have? Drop them in the chat box for us. Chuck said that he already had a couple, so hopefully they aren't terribly difficult.
No, I think the first one kind of is to what you just talked about. Is it terribly difficult to do paleo?
I think it depends on your personality, really. Like, ultimately, no. Because guess what? You're eating meat, vegetables, and fruit. So that's what you're eating. It's like on a very simple response, like, no, it's not difficult. Just do it. But there are so many different factors that come into play here, and let's not deny that a lot of us are addicted to foods that are terrible for us. So we're not just changing our diet, but we are overcoming addiction. We're facing crutches that we've had for a lifetime. There might be psychological emotions and feelings and stuff associated with all that. So I think that, like, I've worked with people who, like, they just changed their diet like that, and it's, like, not even a problem. For me, I was a vegetarian for 25 years before I turned paleo, so I turned to paleo kicking and screaming, and it was not easy. But I will be honest with you, within a couple days of being strict, I felt a notable difference in my body, and it was beyond a shadow of a doubt obvious that that was what my body needed to be well, and I just, it's... So really it is what you put into it, and yeah, it can be tough up front or it can be easy too. Like, it kind of just depends on who you are.
Yeah.
In any case, hang in there, and we're here to support you through it.
Absolutely. And I'll just add in that it is difficult in that we are working against a food environment that goes completely against eating real food and eating health and eating paleo. And you also might be working against family members who are making it difficult for you. Friends. So it can be difficult from those standpoints. But as Kinsey said, if you just give it your best shot, just dig your heels in, commit, do some shopping, do some cooking, and then see how you feel. You will probably feel so good. It'll be the motivation to just continue on.
You know what? You deserve it. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to give yourself the fuel and the food that your body was intended to eat. And if anything, every human on this earth, in my opinion, deserves to experience that at least once in their life. How was I supposed to feel before all these processed foods and post-agricultural revolution foods came onto the scene? Like, what is my body supposed to feel like? And you know, it's worth it and you deserve it. And we all do. And I've always liked New Year's resolutions because I think this is a great opportunity to say, yes, I'm going to do this. So, you know, maybe adopt the yes, I deserve this attitude because you do.
Yeah,
We all do.
You do. You just might have to fight a little for it, but it's your right.
Fight.
Fight for your right to paleo.
You gotta fight for the right. Join the resolution. Sorry.
So kind of related, the same thing, right? Is a meal plan hard to follow the actual meal plan itself? And they have a family with some small kids. So do you have some suggestions about following the meal plan, involving kids, family, things of that nature?
Right. Following the meal plan in general, if you just follow it verbatim, it's not hard. We give you the shopping list, you take the shopping list to the store, you buy the ingredients, and you follow our prep instructions, which also come weekly, and you just make up your meals and go. We do have, it's fully customizable, so if you have 4 or 5 people in your family, you can customize the shopping list and the size of the meals to fit your family. Mm-hmm. It can be extremely difficult to transition family members. They might not want to do it. And we do have a post on that, and we will be talking more about that in our daily pinned posts on Facebook. But Chuck can link into that post that we have and also show us the customization process. If you wanted to go into that now, Chuck, I'm not sure.
I guess we could just do it real. I don't think I have it up because when I crashed, so maybe we'll show it later. I will put the transitioning your family stuff link in there, though.
It is very easy to customize the meal plan to fit however many people you want it to.
Yeah, I mean, you literally just log into your account, you click on My Account, and then you click on I forget what one of the tabs, and you literally just select 1 person, 2 person, 5 person, 10 person, and all of a sudden your meal plans are updated with and the shopping lists are updated. They have the proper amount of ingredients that you'll need to make your meal plan, make your recipes. The recipes are updated, so they have the proper amount of ingredients. It's all very easy, and I'm not doing a very good job explaining it. So
no,
I'm a little frazzled from all this stuff going wrong.
It's because you have too many screens, Chuck. If you only had 1 screen, then there's only one thing to
Too fancy.
Too fancy. But yeah, the meal plans are super cool because recently Chuck updated things so you can customize them to your needs. If you're, avoiding tomatoes because you hate tomatoes or whatever the situation is, you can exclude and flag certain ingredients so that they don't appear on your meal plan or on your shopping list or in the recipes. But also changing the number of servings and number of people that the meal plan can serve or other customizable features. So there are, we'll be sharing more information about this in the group, but there are a couple blogs that we have that go into more detail about that you guys can read if you're super nerdy about customizing your meal plan, which I am.
That's your right, too.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, what other questions do you guys have?
Yeah, let me, I'm going through here and trying
Let
to
me guess. You guys want to know if you can drink coffee on your paleo challenge? Everybody asked that, which is how we knew. Yeah, exactly. The answer is yes. Coffee is allowed. We just say that you drink it in moderation because it can be something that contributes to symptoms in some people. You don't want any food or substance to be a crutch. So, you don't want to depend on coffee for energy. Coffee can sometimes mask an underlying issue. Maybe your thyroid's low or your adrenal dysfunction or something, if you're dependent on coffee. But in general, we do allow coffee during the paleo challenge. Alcohol, however, while technically paleo, we suggest that you do try to give it up for the 30 days. I'll leave that there. You can argue with me about it on the Facebook wall.
We posted that today. That's on there today. We want to give your liver a break. We really do. You're detoxing. This is a detox.
Right.
Detox. Do it.
Right. However, I will say, you guys might hate me for this, and by you guys I mean Sally and Amy, but Amy's our other nutritionist, by the way, and she can't be here tonight because she just had a baby, and we're so excited for her. Hi, Amy, if you're here. But she will be joining us maybe in future videos. We hope so. But you'll see her name on the Facebook wall as well. Her name's Amy McNew. And her baby boy's name's Harry, and he's so cute. Okay, sorry, I just got baby distracted.
One of the other questions about coffee is often what people can add to it. So obviously you don't add sugar, you don't add milk. So what are some alternatives?
Speaking of Amy, she wrote such a good blog post recently. It's called 10 Paleo Ways to Take Your Coffee to the Next Level. And you should check it out on our blog because it gives you all sorts of ideas for different paleo creamers and different ways that you can spice up your coffee and actually like add fat into it. I don't know if you know this, but caffeine is a fat-soluble molecule and it's stabilized by fat, so you get more bang from your buck if you add some fat to your coffee, like coconut oil. And Amy goes into a lot of really great options there. So definitely check out that blog that maybe Chuck can drop into the chat box. If not, you can just Google that in our search box on our website. Oh, and I like to always mention, rotate the stuff you're using in your coffee. Like, don't use the same thing every day if possible. You know, rotate it up, mix it up. And in general, with your diet, rotate and have variety. That's why the meal plans, one of the reasons why the meal plans are super awesome is that they incorporate the variety of different types of foods that our body needs to thrive ultimately. A lot of times, working with people, I find that they just get stuck in the same old rut, eating the same foods over and over. And like Sally was talking about earlier, this challenge is all about detoxing and eating foods that are nutrient dense, but not, but a decreased toxic load. So basically, eating one food too much will increase toxins from that food. So if you diversify the foods you're eating, you're not going to get overexposed to any one toxin or any one nutrient, because nutrients in excess can become toxic as well. So the meal plans are great because they do that work for you. But in general, when we're talking about things like creaming, coffee creamers, rotate it up. Don't get stuck in the rut. Try to increase the diversity, and you will discover that your taste buds change as you go through these 30 days, and stuff that you thought that I didn't like this. Well, you might like it at the end of 30 days. Like I was just talking with someone about coconut oil, and they couldn't stand the flavor of coconut oil. And then they did paleo for 30 days, and all of a sudden they love the flavor of coconut oil. So truly your cells are changing, your body's changing, and your taste buds too will change. So don't be afraid to experiment with things that you previously thought that you didn't like, and give your body a chance. Like it takes children, 10 to 15 to 20 times of exposure to a new food to develop to even be able to like it. So give yourself the same opportunity and keep reintroducing foods and give them a shot, because it's all about, diversity is the spice of life. Okay, I'm rambling again.
Well,
all right. So the next question. No, go ahead, Sally.
No, it's an important point.
It is. It's actually, I think, the most important point.
All right, so the next question is, how much is enough water?
She's like, I'm not answering that one. Good question. And there is different answers to that question. I think a general answer is to drink half your body weight in ounces.
Mm-hmm.
But it truly depends on what you're eating, because food has water in it, and how much exercise you're doing, and how much you're sweating, and whether it's winter or summer outside and you spend time outside, outdoors or inside. It depends on all these things. So in general, make sure you're peeing every couple of hours. Make sure it looks like light lemonade and not like some dark concentrated juice. That's really the best way to gauge if you're drinking enough. Pee every 2 or 3 hours and have it look like light lemonade.
Somebody asked, go ahead, Kenzie.
No, it's just agreeing with what Sally was saying.
I think you guys should argue in a fight.
We might. Fisticuffs.
I'm just going to skip. One person asked, 1 cup of milk a day, or is that totally off limits?
For the purposes of this challenge, that is totally off limits. Milk is...
Dairy is off limits because we want you to see how you feel without it. That's a highly allergic food or sensitive food for people, and we want you to be able to see how you feel before and after.
Isn't it? What's the percentage of people that are actually allergic to it? Is it? I heard some
Large.
like really large number.
Yeah,
I
it's up
forget what
like
it was.
it's upwards to 70% of the
Yeah.
US population has some degree of dairy intolerance, or at least doesn't produce enough of the enzyme lactase to be able to digest the lactose sugars in, and there's other problems as well. But the point is that so many people might be intolerant to it that it just makes sense to remove it from your diet to see if you might be one of those people. And also, I think it's important to notate here, sorry, I do this, but like a lot of times people don't have immediate reactions to food, and they think that if they don't tolerate a food, they should feel it in their stomach, or they should have some sort of digestive situation happening. That is absolutely not true at all. Like a lot of times you can eat a food and you might you might be intolerant to it, or your body might not tolerate it well, but maybe it gives you a rash, or maybe it gives you a headache, or maybe it makes your skin flaky or itchy, or I don't know, there's a gazillion different symptoms that can pop up as the result of a food intolerance or allergy. And it's really important because you just don't know until you remove that food for at least 4 to 6 weeks and then reintroduce it. After you've had a chance to remove it that long, it is really clear when you reintroduce that food whether or not you tolerate it. Like you might break out in full body hives afterwards. I don't know, that happened to me, which is why I'm saying that. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody here. But the point is that after having removed it for that long, it's very clear for most folks whether or not their body tolerates it. And because so many dairy intolerance and other types of food intolerance do not result in digestive symptoms, that's why we're really trying to say, hey, just try to be strict about it for a while. And then you can foreshadow on the Facebook group. There's another document under the Files tab, and it's called the Elimination Provocation Challenge or something, and it talks about challenging foods one by one back in. But when you do that, the Elimination Provocation Challenge still remains the gold standard for identifying food intolerance, and it's such a valuable tool. And that's why we've set our Paleo Challenge up like this, so that you have an opportunity to truly determine, what foods work for me and what foods do I just feel better without, even though I might love that food. And
Kinsey, what's the minimum number of days somebody needs to go before they know that they've cleansed all that, dairy or whatever out of their system before they can start reintroducing?
Well, I like to tell people, ideally 6 weeks, because that seems to be a number that seems to be about the length of time that it takes for the immune system to sort of quit producing antibodies to certain proteins in food. But that totally varies, with people. Everybody's different, this and that. But in general, we set this Paleo Challenge up to be 30 days because 30 days is a good amount of time. You'll get a lot of good information after 30 days. You don't necessarily need to go the full 6 weeks. And like I said earlier, I started feeling different within the first couple days. So, it's not going to take a couple weeks before you start feeling better, but it really does vary between people. But the 30 days
if somebody
time.
If somebody does paleo and has a cup of milk or adds some milk and some sugar to their coffee, that kind of resets that clock, right? Like from that point, you need like another 30 days
in a way
to really know.
Yeah, in a way, like I think that if people are, 95% strict and then they paleo 5%, I don't think it necessarily resets you back to ground zero, but it does push you back some, it just does. So I think it's still better to keep forging, like don't be like, oh, I ate a piece of bread, I give up, It's not like that, but yeah, maybe tack on a couple days at the end, or don't go hog wild. If you eat one cracker, don't eat the whole box.
So transitioning from milk, another common question is, can I eat butter?
Yeah, we actually, the nutritionists at Paleo Plan, we just wrote some stuff about this on our blog that you can check out, but we do recommend that you also exclude butter for at least the 30 days for the same reasons, that it does contain those milk solids that do contain lactose and other components of dairy that tend to be problematic and that people react to. So for the purposes of, and people get confused about that, I think, because you see a lot of paleo recipes out there that do call for butter or ghee, and ghee is clarified butter that's basically been heated and then the milk solids are removed and you're left with just fat. And the reality is that a lot of people do pretty well eating ghee And, a lot of people do find eating grass-fed butter. But again, because you just never know if you might be one of those people that's like hypersensitive to dairy, it just makes sense to remove it for the 30 days. And then you can have butter later in life, challenge it back in. But yeah, we do not use butter in our recipes because we like to give people the opportunity to see how they feel without all dairy. And technically, butter is dairy.
All right, so here's another great question that I think comes up a lot. So somebody's asking if they should be taking like a vitamin supplement. They're concerned about getting enough calcium.
When we evaluate the meal plans and count up the milligrams of calcium, we get up to between about 600 and 800 milligrams. And the reason that the RDA for calcium is so high, up at 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams, is because of all of the non-paleo foods that we eat that bind to calcium and render it unabsorbable to our systems. That's one of the reasons anyway. So when you're following a real foods whole paleo diet, you probably don't need that many milligrams to get what you need. Chris Kresser has written a great post on this. And he recommends that about 600 to 800 milligrams is adequate. And that is what you're getting with our meal plan. So for at least for the 30 days, I wouldn't worry too much about it. There's many other components to bone health besides calcium. You need enough
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D, K2. You need to put pressure on your ligaments and your tendons and your bones for them to grow. You need magnesium. You need one of the B vitamins too. Probably all of them. Vitamin C. You need a healthy diet to take care of your bones. So I wouldn't worry about. I certainly wouldn't worry about dairy for your calcium. In fact, the calcium that you get through leafy greens and other vegetable foods is more absorbable to our bodies than it is from dairy. And on a paleo diet, you're eating many more of these foods, so you're getting more calcium from your food in any case.
Sally, do you happen to remember? I'm looking up his article. There's one: calcium supplements, why you should think twice. How to keep your bones healthy on a paleo diet.
He probably links to the. I'd have to see the articles to know which one.
Okay.
I don't.
I'll link to a bunch of them for people.
Okay. Cool. Excellent.
I agree, though. They have a lot of new studies showing that calcium supplementation may even be.
And exactly, the supplementation might actually hurt you rather than.
Yeah, might hurt you.
The calcium goes to the wrong place. It doesn't go to your bones. It goes into your soft tissues, which is exactly where you don't want it to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can calcify, calcifies things.
Right, and cause a clot.
Good. So, yeah, give your body, like when you change your diet, you're going to be getting a lot more nutrition from your food. So keep that in mind. Like maybe you did need more supplements before, but maybe you won't necessarily need as many now. Having said that, I do take a general multivitamin and a mixed B vitamin every day, and vitamin D, because I get my levels tested and I live in the Northwest and I'm deficient.
And that's actually an extremely important point. We're all different. We all have different metabolisms. We all have different health conditions and different needs. And let me say right here, right now, if your physician has prescribed you a vitamin, then you definitely continue to take it. I just, from a paleo point of view, I believe our meal plans are adequate. But from your point of view, do what your doctor has intended for you.
Absolutely. And ask me in the future, because we can talk about different ways to determine your nutrient status through more blood work, because I love talking about blood work. But I'm not going to go into it tonight, because I've already gone into too much about blood work.
We're starting to run late, so we're going to be wrapping it up here soon. There's another question that's I think is pretty good, and they're all good questions. But does everything have to be organic, grass-fed,
No, you know, we do the best that we can, and I definitely don't think because you can't eat everything organic, it should be a deal breaker. Of course, yeah, it's better to eat everything organic if you can afford it. It's even better to grow your own food, you know? But the reality is we all have different situations, so we do the best we can, and you strive for the best quality food. And we're going to be talking a lot about how to stretch your dollar on paleo and different ways to save dollars here and there. I just know from personal experience that I spent a lot more money on paleo when I first started 5+ years ago than I do now. So I've figured out a lot of tips and tricks to cut my food costs. But it shouldn't be a deal breaker. You know, if you can't do organic, but you know, having said that, you do want to shoot for grass-fed or pastured animals. I think if you're going to spend a lot of money on any one food source, it should be your fats, since toxins bioaccumulate in fats. So if you're going to have to pick one area of, you know, your diet that you spend the most money on, I guess, I would say do it for your fats and your animals. So, you know, high-quality animals, grass-fed, pastured, wild-caught, good quality oils. Don't eat rancid oils. I would focus on that. And if you can do organic and all that, of course, that's wonderful. I don't know. Sally, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you said it pretty well.
You know, I was in Vegas a month or two ago, and I was eating at the how do you say it? Mon Amigabi. It's at the Paris Hotel. It's their little French restaurant or whatever. And on their menu for their meat, it said, all of our beef is 100% grain-fed. And it was like, it was funny, right? Because you want grass-fed, right? And if you can't get grass-fed, okay, like, right? But like that they were promoting it as if it were like a positive thing to like 100% grain-fed beef.
Well, people like the flavor of grain-fed beef better because you get more of that marbling. You know, they feed grains to cows to fatten them. And even some cows are grain finished, so they might be grass-fed their whole life until the last couple months or weeks, and then they feed them a bunch of grains. But the reason they do that is to fatten them up, which to me says something about what grains do to humans as well. But the reason I think that people like it is because it makes that cow fatter, and just fat, the marbling that happens, like that you won't see in a grass-fed meat. Like you'll see mainly the fat on the outside of the animal in grass-fed, like cows, for example, but in a grain-fed cow, it's marbled. Between the muscles, there's fat, and that just tastes better, or at least people's palates are more used to it. But again, your taste buds will change, so just know that there's so many of the more healthy fats that you need. Like the fats are super crucial here to get good, high-quality fats, and that the highest quality fats will come from the grain-fed and the from grass-fed and pastured animals. So try to focus there if you can. And like I said, we'll share some tips and tricks and some links that you can get some of this stuff online for a lot cheaper than you might pay in your local health food store.
Yeah, there's
not that you shouldn't support your local health food store.
Yeah, there's a couple of great places you can get some meat, and you can buy a large quantity and get some really quality stuff.
There are.
That we linked to. Another question was, what happens if I drink?
Get drunk.
Try it and then put it away for the rest of the challenge if you can. You know, if you're drinking a little bit through the challenge, that's your choice. It's not
a deal breaker.
No, it's not a deal breaker or a hard and fast rule. It's a suggestion. It's a suggestion.
Yeah, and technically, it's allowed on paleo, right?
Like, this isn't all about like all or nothing, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's really not.
You're trying to make improvements in your life, and we want you to like do the full 30 days like hardcore. But if you just can't, you can't, and don't like not do it just because one little aspect that you can't be 100% on.
Right. But having said that, if you're going to paleo on alcohol, don't do it on beer because that contains gluten. Shoot for like a gluten-free clear liquor, which the clear liquors have less sugar than the dark liquors, or like some nice wine or something like that. I wouldn't go do keg stands or anything.
Yeah.
No keg stands on the challenge. Sorry. So, but no, not a deal breaker. And if you feel like you need something, a glass a night is, I don't think, going to hurt.
It's kind of like, no, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say it's kind of like caffeine.
It's kind of the same.
Not like caffeine. Not at all.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
The whole challenge is not an all or nothing endeavor, but we challenge you to do your very best with it. Commit as much as you can,
Yeah.
because you get the best rewards from what you put in.
You do. And this is a chance to like be hardcore about it and have the support of a group. So if ever was there a time in your life to be hardcore about something, it should be now during our awesome 30-day Paleo challenge. And again, please support one another through this process. And it's going to be difficult, and you might not get that support from your family members. They might not understand it, but you have a really supportive group of people who get it here. So feel free to vent, use the page to do it. Yeah.
All right, guys.
I just one more time I wanted to mention, because there's only a few hours left on our flash sale, that we are running an awesome discount on our meal plans. So Chuck dropped the link already in the chat box. Maybe you could do it again. But all of our a couple of our meal plans are on sale until midnight tonight. So be sure, if you haven't signed up for our meal plans yet, to get in on this deal, because you won't see it again for a long time. And yeah, thanks you guys for being here with us tonight and geeking out with us.
We also wanted to mention you can do a 14-day free trial just by going to the site. So if you don't want to pay the $10 a month, 14-day free trial, give it a shot. You know, improve your overall health.
Yeah.
And we also wanted to mention that today's Friday. It's the beginning of the challenge. Moving forward, every Thursday we're going to do a live Q&A similar to this, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be the same setup. So if you do have some questions along the way, ask them in the Facebook group, or wait and you can ask them here.
Thanks, you guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks for being here tonight.
I'll see you tomorrow on Facebook.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thank you.